Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have to tell you, folks, looking at what is unfolding right now in Port Charles, my jaw is practically resting on the floor. I have been watching these people for a very long time, and I have seen my fair share of wild twists and turns, but the dark path that Willow is walking down right now is something straight out of a terrible nightmare. Do you remember when she was just that sweet, soft-spoken school teacher who only wanted to do good in the world? Well, those days are long gone, swept away like dry dust in the wind. What I am seeing now is a woman who has become so incredibly ruthless, so completely consumed by her own selfish desires, that she makes some of the old school troublemakers look like absolute saints. It is both fascinating and terrifying to witness a gentle soul change so drastically. Honestly, it breaks my heart a little bit to see how far she has fallen into this deep abyss of deception, lies, and pure cruelty. It just goes to show that you never truly know what someone is capable of until they are pushed to their absolute limits. Now let us talk about the ultimate betrayal that is brewing right under our noses, because this is where things get truly wild and unbelievable. I am looking at the very real, terrifying possibility that Willow is going to frame her own biological mother, Nina Reeves, for her terrible crimes. Just let that sink in for a moment, friends. Nina is a woman who, despite all her past mistakes, flaws, and misjudgments, has crossed every conceivable line just to save her daughter. She has poured her heart, her soul, and her resources into trying to build a loving bridge between them. And how is she being repaid for all this unconditional motherly love? By being set up as the perfect sacrificial lamb. In my neck of the woods, we call that biting the hand that feeds you, but this is taking it to a whole new deadly level. It is a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions, seeing a mother's desperate love being weaponized against her by her own flesh and blood. It makes you wonder if there is any true loyalty left in this town at all. The devil, as they always say, is in the details, and the physical details here are pointing straight at poor Nina. I want you to think about those syringes that were used to secretly drug Drew Kane. Even though those needles were tossed away into various sharps containers, scattered about like trash to hide the sinister evidence, Nina's fingerprints are still sitting right there on them, clear as day for anyone to find. It is exactly like a ticking time bomb just waiting to go off and completely destroy her life. I can just picture the local police finding those prints and immediately jumping to the wrong conclusion, completely blind to the real puppet master pulling the strings behind the heavy curtain. It is a classic dirty frame-up job, and Nina is standing right in the crosshairs without even fully realizing how tight the trap is closing around her. The sheer injustice of it makes my blood boil, to be completely honest with you. No mother deserves to be treated like disposable collateral by her own child. Thank goodness Nina still has some sharp survival instincts left in her, because she managed to save herself from being completely exposed by Willow in a very close, heart-pounding call. She secretly and very wisely held back from giving Jack Brennan those dangerous drugs. That single split-second decision was a true blessing in disguise. Because she did not drug him, Jack was able to quickly snap out of that horrifying, fake, locked-in syndrome he was pretending to be trapped in. He only had to take the medication once, which allowed him to keep his wits about him and stay alert. However, Jack has been playing a very dangerous game of cat and mouse ever since that moment. He kept up the exhausting charade of being paralyzed until his boss, Ross Cullum, finally caught on to the act. And even after being discovered by his superior, Jack is still putting his own neck on the line, covering up tracks and tangling himself deeper and deeper into this messy, inescapable web of lies. I just shake my head wondering how these folks manage to sleep at night with all this heavy stress weighing on their shoulders. But let us get back to the absolute root of all this madness. Willow's terrifying, all-consuming obsession with keeping custody of her children, little Wiley and Amelia. Now, I am a firm believer that a mother's love is a powerful, beautiful thing. We would all move mountains for our kids, wouldn't we? But what Willow is doing is not just moving mountains. She is burning the whole world down to the ground. She has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that she will do absolutely anything to keep those kids under her roof. And when I say anything, I mean crossing the ultimate, unforgivable line into murder. It is a chilling realization that the pure love for a child can be twisted into such a dark, violent motivation. She is no longer just protecting her babies, she is hoarding them, and anyone who stands in her way is just collateral damage in her eyes. It is a sad, scary truth that unchecked power and deep-seated fear can corrupt even the most natural maternal instincts. If you need hard proof of how far gone she really is, just look back at that fateful bloody night with Drew Kane. She shot him. Not just a warning shot to scare him off, mind you, but 2 heavy bullets straight into his back. Shooting an unarmed man in the back is the ultimate act of cowardice in my book, a true low blow that shows a complete lack of morality. By some absolute miracle of grace, Drew survived that brutal, senseless attack. But instead of counting her lucky stars, getting down on her knees to pray, and walking away from the darkness, Willow is actually thinking about reopening the whole criminal case. And why on earth would she do that? Because she wants to manipulate the system to make sure she can never, ever be prosecuted for the shooting again. Her mind is working in these twisted, paranoid circles, constantly looking over her shoulder, trying to tie up loose ends by creating even more chaos and destruction. It is exactly like watching a terrible train wreck in slow motion. You know it is going to end in absolute disaster, but you just cannot look away from the screen. And who is her prime, carefully chosen target to take the fall for shooting Drew? None other than Michael Corinthos. Her top priority right now is to manufacture fake evidence to prove that Michael was the one who pulled the trigger that night. This just shows me that Willow is completely unhinged and not thinking clearly at all. To try and destroy the father of your children, a man you once loved and shared a life with, just to save your own skin, that is colder than a bitter Chicago winter. Jack Brennan thought he had talked some much-needed sense into her. He truly thought he had convinced her to drop this crazy, destructive scheme once and for all. But let us be real here for a second. Who on earth actually knows what is going on inside Willow's chaotic head from one minute to the next? She is as unpredictable as a violent summer thunderstorm, and twice as destructive to everyone standing in her path. The real wild card in all of this, the giant monkey wrench thrown right into the middle of Willow's grand master plan, is that Drew is now awake, alert, and fully able to speak. And here is the absolute kicker that made me gasp out loud. Willow actually confessed her crime to him. She told him straight to his face that she was the one who shot him in the back. So Drew holds all the winning cards right now. He could blow her whole life apart, send her to prison, and take her kids away with just one simple sentence to the police. But this is where the plot thickens into a rich, complicated stew, folks. Drew is a man on a dark mission of his own. He is brewing up a massive, calculated storm of revenge against the entire wealthy Quartermain family. Because he is so laser-focused on his own bitter vendetta, it is highly likely he is going to keep his mouth firmly shut about Willow's guilt. He is holding on to her dirty little secret to use as powerful leverage, or maybe just because her ongoing chaos helps camouflage his own sneaky plans. It is a highly dangerous game of mutually assured destruction, and I am sitting here on the edge of my seat waiting to see who blinks first. The boiling tension is not just happening behind closed, locked doors either. It is spilling out right into the public eye for everyone to witness. Just the other day, I watched this incredibly uncomfortable, tense scene unfold down at the beautiful Metro Court pool. The sun was shining, people were laughing, and Willow brought little Wiley there for a fun afternoon swim, and who should happen to be enjoying the water, but Michael and his new girlfriend, Jacinda Bracken. Michael took Wiley into the pool, and you could see the pure, innocent joy radiating from that sweet little boy's face. It warms the heart, it really does, to see a father and son bonding like that. But the very moment Michael stepped away for just a brief second, the sharp claws came out. Willow marched right up to Jacinda and aggressively laid down the law. She made it crystal clear, with absolute ice in her veins, that she did not want Jacinda anywhere near her son. She was marking her territory like a fierce wild animal protecting its young. But Jacinda, bless her brave heart, did not back down an inch. She completely brushed Willow off, ignoring her bossy demands, and you could just feel the heavy electricity snapping in the air. It was a classic dramatic showdown, and I loved every single 10-second of it. As I sit here quietly reflecting on all this heavy drama, I am just struck by the profound, aching sadness of it all. At the end of the day, underneath all the clever lies, the endless scheming, and the cruel betrayals, these are real families tearing themselves apart at the seams. A mother's deep love is being coldly exploited. A father is being maliciously framed for a crime he didn't commit, and innocent, sweet children are caught right in the middle of a bitter war zone. It makes you want to reach right through the television screen and shake some good old-fashioned sense into every single one of them. But I suppose that is exactly why we keep watching day after day, isn't it? We hold on to the hope that eventually the bright truth will shine through the heavy darkness, that real justice will finally be served, and that maybe, just maybe, some of these badly fractured relationships can be healed with time. Until that day comes, I will be right here in my chair, keeping a very close eye on every single twist and turn, and I absolutely cannot wait to share the next thrilling chapter of this incredible saga with all of you.